I'm Kathy. Welcome to the Dunton Homestead. Earlier this week I assembled some raised garden beds. They're 4x8s. There was 2 of them. I had gotten a killer deal on them. Didn't necessarily like the quality or putting them together or the directions to do so, but I got it done. I got one of them filled up by bringing wheelbarrows full from that's down by the barn of compost, and then I topped them off like the last 6 inches of it off with some garden soil that I had purchased. With my fingers crossed that there was nothing wrong with it. A lot of people have been having problems with that. So then Rick went ahead and filled up the second one with some dirt that he had dug out from the chicken coop area. That he had to dig a trench because he had decided to put rollaway boxes, which he just had to make the ground lower. And so he had all this excess dirt that was piled up by the driveway. He brought all that up before he took off for his trip. And then I went ahead and put another 4 to 6 inches of garden soil on top of the second one. Today, the plan is to go ahead and plant out. I'm gonna thin out the strawberry bed. That the first existing one that was here when we moved here has way too many strawberry plants in it, way too many weeds in it, things that I did not plant in there that I don't want in there. I'm gonna basically redo that whole thing. I'm gonna pull the plants out, put them into the new strawberry beds, and interplant onions amongst the strawberry plants. The research that I did said that the onions will help to ward off certain insects. We had huge insect problems. The yield that from those the strawberry beds, the 2 existing ones that I had this past year, the insects get to the strawberries before I do. So I'm not going to spray them. I don't want to put DE on them. I'm going to go ahead and try to interplant things that insects don't like. And from what I understand, they do not like onions. They do not like garlic, and both onions and garlic grow well with strawberries. And that's one of the things that you have to, when you're looking for all natural solutions rather than spraying pesticides, you really need to look, because just because something is unfriendly to the insects doesn't not necessarily mean it's going to be good growing by another plant. And from what I read, from what I understand, strawberries, garlic, and onions will go well together. But I won't be planting garlic and onions in the same strawberry bed because they don't do well together. The next thing I'd like to get accomplished today, if time allows, is I want to clean up this mess that is like our entryway into our main entrance of the house, which is the side door. We processed chickens 2 weeks ago, and we still have everything is still all out, and there's things that need to be taken care of, and this type of thing just makes me crazy. So that's actually something I got on my list, is to like try and get this all cleaned up so it actually looks nice. This is what the existing strawberry bed looked like before I started pulling strawberry plants from it. So the 2 new beds have strawberries planted in. It was recommended to plant them anywhere between 12 and 18 inches apart. I planted them 15 inches apart, which should give me plenty of room to be able to plant onions about 4 inches apart and get a good part of my onion seedlings in there. I'm probably not going to have enough to get all of my onions in those 2 beds, but the plan is that I am going to be pulling all of those strawberries out, redoing that bed as well, and then the one that I had done in the spring that's on the other side of those elephant ear thingies. So I only removed, I'm gonna say about a third I have 34 plants altogether in the new beds. I only moved like a third of them out of that bed. They multiply. It's fantastic if you can actually get fruit off of them. I just haven't had much success with that. So I know I'll be giving away more plants to some of my friends at church this week or next week when I have figured out exactly what I need. But now I'm going to go ahead and start planting my seeds, my seedlings. I have a couple more flats over there, but I did those like 1 or 2 seeds in a pot, whereas these I just kind of like did a pinch because they separate really easy. The roots separate real easy when you're separating them. I'm gonna put those in, hoping for larger bulbs than what I got last year. We did okay last year. It just wasn't, you know, you always have bigger expectations and a lot of times than what you end up getting. I'm gonna plant them about 4 inches apart, and I'm gonna just go ahead and interplant them amongst the strawberries that I've already planted, and we'll see what happens from there. Then I've got the one of the beds planted out with the onions. I forgot to turn the camera on, so I'm gonna go ahead and finish up the second bed with the onions. I am gonna have more onions than what I have room for in these 2 beds, so they will have to go into the other ones as I rework them. One of the things I'm excited about putting these onions in with the strawberries is that I'm not planting them in red clay. I think that's one of the problems why I haven't had the size of things like, well, radishes are an anomaly, but onions and garlic, it's because the red clay is just so packed down. So whereas these raised beds have fluffy garden soil, it won't be compressing and preventing things from growing. So I'm pretty excited about that, to see if not only will it help deter the pests from the strawberries, but also helping to get the size that I want on the onions and the garlic. If I have room to plant them in there, hopefully I do. I haven't gotten my garlic yet. I ordered garlic from Garlic King. This time I checked out to make sure that it is right for the right climate, both onions and garlic. They're not all created equal. They will grow better. There are certain varieties that will grow better in certain environments, and after learning that after last year's harvest, or I mean this past year's harvest, I went ahead when I bought the correct seeds and started all these onions from the correct seeds, and the garlic also. And they're coming from Garlic King, and I think they're supposed to be delivered sometime this month. So, because you put them in, if you're doing them over the winter, you put them in October the latest. So I believe I should be getting those relatively soon. This is the 3rd year that I've been planting onions from seed, and based on what I had learned the first year, I was only putting 1 or 2 seeds in each cell in the little pots. And then I watched a video, I think it was M.I. Gardner. He's talking about how easy it is to separate the roots. So I wanted to show you how easy it is to separate the roots. So I had put a pinch of seeds in pretty much every cell. And then when you go to break them apart, you can pull each individual seedling out without damaging the roots. You can't do that with all plants, but with onions it's relatively easy. So they just kind of like break apart. They don't intertwine like some of the other ones do. So for the sake of saving space when you're starting seedlings, you can just do a pinch in each pot. So the big project for the day is completed. I'm gonna water it all in. I should probably pray over it too. Use all the help I can get. Speaking of praying, I know that I have a lot of believers on this channel. I can tell by the comments, and I know a lot of you personally that are on here. I wanted to ask if everybody that is a believer could take a moment and pray for a sweet friend of me and Rick's. His name is Dave. He was in a horrible motorcycle accident coming back from the Trail of Tears ride this past weekend. He was hit head on. Just about every bone in his body has been broken. He's had numerous surgeries. I think he has some internal injuries as well. I'm not clear. I haven't asked too many questions. I'm just going by the posts that I've been reading. He's come a long way in a few days, but I'm asking for anybody that believes in the power of miracles and the power of hearing, the power of our ever-living God, that you all just stop and say a prayer for Dave for total and complete healing. Dave was a neighbor of mine back in New Hampshire. He now lives in Alabama. When he was pastoring, he was the kind of pastor that if he got a phone call at 2 o'clock in the morning, he got up and he went to you. If he got a phone call and he was needed at the hospital, if he was needed for whatever crisis anybody in his congregation was going through, he was there. That's not the norm. That really impressed me when I was starting to get to know him, when our families were starting to get to know each other. Coming from a church where phone calls were screened, that just meant the world to me, to have a pastor that had a heart of a pastor. Dave's never met a stranger in his life. He has touched so many people, and I don't believe that God's done with him, and I just want to ask for total and complete healing on our friend Dave. So if you're a believer, believe with me, and I'll update you as I learn things. That's it. That concludes today's video. I'm not gonna take you along while I clean up this mess. I don't know what I'm gonna do with half the stuff, so I won't bore you with that. But be a blessing and be blessed. I finished up the third strawberry bed the following week. I did not pick up the camera for that, but went ahead and finished that up. So I just have one more strawberry bed to clear out and finish. Then I'll have 4 strawberry beds, and I'm estimating probably about 100 plants altogether. With all my extra plants that I pulled out of there, I'm probably going to throw around some fruit trees and see if I can get in on some of that permaculture action that I've been trying to learn about.